This is Lisa from MobileTechReview, and this is Google's Pixel Fold, their first folding phone, and in the United States, your option other than Samsung for a book-style folding phone machine. So, it's the one that does this, it does this, and you won't break it. Now, there's been a lot of reviews already out. I'm not going to go into detail about every spec. You know all that stuff, right? I'm going to give you my opinion on it. We're going to look at it now. So let's talk about the price first. The price is going to be why a lot of you might watch this, but a lot of you won't be buying this. $17.99 starting price, same as the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5 that we'll also be reviewing. Early on, Google had some really sweet trade-in deals like Samsung does in the United States too. Crazy good trade-in deals, and they threw in a Pixel Watch. Those crazy good trade-in deals, not there so much anymore, and the phone is selling really well, so I don't think they're going to be motivated to have great sales on this. So count on paying a lot for this if you want it at this point, if you haven't already picked it up on some great pre-order sale. All right, now that we've gotten pricing out of the way, one more complaint though. We're up to the Fold 5 now, and the price is still really unchanging at $17.99, the same price for the Pixel. And you would think after that many years, prices might start coming down, right? Or features would be leaping ahead. Neither of those things is happening. Okay, end of pricing complaints. They are still phenomenally cool phones, folding phones. If you watch my channel, you know that I really do enjoy them. The fact that you can have a phone, when you're looking at the book style ones, that can turn into a tablet is really lovely if you're watching content, if you're using Google Maps, if you're working on spreadsheets, all those sorts of things. If you want to do multitasking, have windows side by side in the case of the Pixel, more than that, even the Galaxy Fold. But the reason that you're considering the Pixel Fold is really the form factor. And here in the United States, where it's only been the Samsung Fold style, this very tall, narrow one, finally we have something that's sort of like, well, Surface Duo, only actually a folding display instead of two displays connected by a hinge. So this is a usable size for a lot of people. Watching a video on this, I don't mind doing that. It's 5.8 inches, it's OLED, it's high refresh display, and it's not this tall, narrow, skinny. I mean, you don't want to watch YouTube videos on this kind of shape, right? So number one big reason you're considering this and you might buy this is because it has a normal aspect ratio. In fact, a little less tall and skinny than the average phone, kind of going back a couple of years when phones were more like 16:9, though it is a little taller and narrower than 16:9, but really usable. So anything you want to do here, the keyboard, no complaints about it being too narrow, it's just right. So this is a phone that really is for people who want a phone that's a phone first that can open up into a tablet, which means that it's very usable when it's closed. That it totally is. It's made for me. Let me put it that way. That is my use case. I want something that's a very manageable phone size. Okay, yes, it's thicker. It's a folding phone. It's going to be two pieces sandwiched together. But I only open it up when I want that bigger screen because I want to watch a video, or I am using maps or some kind of content or productivity stuff or side-by-side windows where I need that. So it's my decision. But again, phone first, still fits in my pocket. I don't need an iPad mini with me at all times in its full big glory, only sometimes. What could be a pro with this phone, but it depends because Android and the state of Android apps is when you open this up, it defaulted to landscape orientation. Now these book style foldables are all nearly almost square when you open them up. So that 7.6-inch OLED inner display, again, high refresh display, nice to look at. It's in landscape orientation, but not by a wide margin. But still, it's kind of nice. If you're watching a video, you're going to watch it in landscape mode. A lot of the use cases for big screen uses are exactly things you would do in landscape mode. So it makes a lot of sense on this. But the drawback is going to be the fact that so many Android applications are still not particularly designed for unusual aspect ratios, bigger screens, or tablets even. And Google, I guess, is trying to change that by coming out with this device and refocusing on the Pixel tablet that we also reviewed to try to get developers to give you stuff that actually makes better use of the screen real estate. That's not to say there's nothing. Google has optimized all their apps. So like Gmail, it's great. You have an inbox list on one side, the message view on the other. Google Meet, you've got your video up top, your controls at the bottom. It's nicely done. But if you're using particularly social media apps like Instagram, everybody loves to pick on them because they just never really adapt to big screens. If you open it in landscape mode, you're going to have black bars. It's going to be pillar boxed. And you can choose to shift it to the left or to the right if you want, but That's not so great. So in those cases, you're going to rotate it and put it back in portrait mode, which is where the Galaxy Fold starts out. You're still not seeing the best use of real estate, something like Instagram or Threads or Twitter, honestly, where you're not getting that much more on screen than you would if you were using a standard candy bar large screen phone, like the Galaxy S23 Plus or Ultra or the Pixel 7 Pro. So there's that. So there's the pluses and the minuses. If Android apps do evolve finally and jump on that dynamically resizable bandwagon and supporting higher DPIs and stuff, then it'll be good. The other reason you're looking at a Pixel Fold phone is probably because it's a Pixel and Pixel cameras, yeah? And this is 90 to 95% of what you get on a Pixel 7 Pro in terms of image quality. It's nice to have 5x telephoto zoom going on there, optical, high quality, and you've got a very good ultra-wide angle, which I would say certainly beats Samsung, and then the usual excellent high-resolution inner one. The inner selfie camera, it's okay, but you can use the outer camera if you wish to. It also has facial recognition and fingerprint login, by the way. This ties into the camera because if you're using facial recognition, it will use the outer selfie camera, but not the inner one. So if you have opened in tablet mode, you will need to use the fingerprint scanner or put in your PIN or password, whichever your preference is. Fingerprint scanner works just great on this, by the way. Anyway, back to the cameras. The images on this are lovely. It's motivating, let me put it that way, to go out and actually take pictures with it. Now, in terms of videography, Samsung does a good job. So there's a case still saying if you're mostly doing video, that Samsung might be your pick. But when it comes to still photography, the Pixel is it. This is not a replacement. None of these high-end camera phones are replacements for a really good standalone camera if you're seriously into photography. But in the spirit of the best camera is the one that you have with you, this one is not going to disappoint. It's right up there with the iPhone 14 line of cameras, Pro cameras for good photo quality. And then you get those Pixel features, like you get the magic eraser, which is pretty neat. Anything that's in your picture that you don't like, circle with your finger, boom, it's gone. Photo bombers, it can even intelligently try to figure out what things should be removed. And they have photo on blur. I don't find it necessary. This thing has a pretty fast shutter, unlike Samsung cameras typically. So not much ever ends up blurry, but you've got all of those features built into it as well. Now, what are the drawbacks? Well, there's the CPU. It's not terrible. It's a very competent CPU. It's the Google Tensor G2 processor, which is based on Exynos architecture made by Samsung, funny enough. It's been around for a while, it's not the fastest. So if you really, for your $1,800, want the fastest processor available, the G2, isn't it? Will a normal person notice it when they're using the phone day to day, multitasking, even playing some games? Probably not. Where you will notice it is the G2 does tend to get warmer, so the phone will feel warmer to the touch. I have not had that problem. We are living in Northern California now, though, where typically it doesn't get all that hot. If we were still in Dallas, I probably would notice this problem more. It has wireless charging, and it has just about 25-watt wired charging. Sometimes with the G2 processor, if it gets too warm, it will slow down charging as well. I haven't had that problem again, but I know some people do. So it's not the apex of CPUs available. Is it perfectly adequate? Can it handle the AI features for the camera and stuff? Yes, it can do that. For storage, you got your choice of 256 gigs, and that's what you're getting for $17.99. And if you up it by about $120, you can get 512 gigs. Available in your choice of essentially what's black or white, obsidian and a creamy kind of white color. So honestly, the CPU, I would like something even more modern and advanced, but I'm okay with that. This obviously has reasonably big bezels for a folding phone, and first time I saw the release photos of it, I thought, huh. But in practical use, I don't mind so much because why? You're folding, you're putting pressure on that screen when you're closing it. I like to actually have a place I know I can safely press on when I close it and open it. They kind of disappear from me. It's a folding phone. There is a crease. Again, your mind just kind of makes it go away for most of us. I know someone with OCD will never unsee the crease, but it's there. It has a flat folding hinge, which is wonderful, and Samsung's moving on to that too, and I'm sure other makers will. The fold is sort of like an inner teardrop, so it bows inside, so that may help with screen longevity. Just like other folding phones, it does have a plastic screen protector on top that you're really not supposed to remove, and it's there to protect the folding glass, bendable glass layer on it. In terms of screen quality, it gets plenty bright. I mean, they're talking like 1500 nits of maximum outdoor brightness. The thing is that one thing I've noticed is that it stays at max brightness for not very long. You might want it to stay longer. I don't know if it's protecting the screen or the heat inside the device or what it is, but it's usable outdoors. I don't find that it's a problem compared to any other phone that I've used. And that plastic screen protector is not wildly reflective, nor is it as fingerprint loving as some folding phone displays. So that's fine. Google sticks with natural for their color profile for their displays, inner and outer. So if you're looking for the ultra vivid, amped up color look, you won't get that here. Subjectively speaking, even when not using the Samsung Vivid mode, which is the amped up color mode, I slightly like the Samsungs better. The whites aren't as pure white, natural white. They're a little cold blue white, but overall a little more zing on the Samsung displays, but not enough to be a deal breaker to me. Speakers on this, you think there's a lot of room for speakers, right? The audio is okay. It's really nothing to write home about, which is surprising for a big folding phone. Certainly the Fold beats it, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold, when it comes to that. And by the way, touchscreen only, no pen input, so if you need that, not the phone for you. But overall, I have to say that for me, as a folding phone fan, this is the form factor I prefer. I just like something that's wildly usable as a phone without having to open it up every time. The performance on this is quite good enough. The cameras, which I do care about a lot, are really good on this. I mean, it's very enjoyable. The build quality is nice on this. It's a good-looking phone. The frosted glass on the back is not too slippery, and the weight is spread out in such a way that it's not as likely to go slinging out of my hand as the tall, skinny design phones. That's nice too. Overall, for what we call a first attempt, I mean, Google has done a really good job. I can't wait to see where they're going to go next with this. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.